Hey, thanks for clicking in. If you guys know baseball, you know what this is. Radar gun. It's what everyone's using nowadays to generate and evaluate pitchers along with some other things. But the one thing that velocity will do to an arm is the harder you throw, the more torques that go in the arm and the more you have to take care of that arm. So as your kids are throwing harder, and even in the younger years, the torque on a muscle that hasn't quite had the growth plate attached versus a torque on an 18 or 19-year-old, it doesn't have to be the same amount to damage an arm. But one thing that we know, one of the things that relieves edema and relieves a lot of pain is cold or ice. There's a big controversy called RICE, rest, ice, compression, elevation. Well, hey, I'm one of those guys believe that when you throw a ball and you pitch the ball, after you're done with those amount of pitches, your arm has trauma to it. One of the things that I used to do, I used to take ice and drip it around and walk around with it all the time. But I love this product, which is out. You can see it behind me. It's called Freeze Sleeve. It comes in a little bag. You just throw it in the freezer. Then when you're ready to come back from your game and ice your arm, you just pull it out of the bag. And it's like a jelly coated. You can see how it moves around like this, but it feels as cold as ice. This is the beautiful part about it. You take it on, you pull it up on your arm, you get two things. You get the cold of ice, you get the compression on top of it, which takes it down a little bit deeper. And probably the most important thing is you get convenience. I don't have stuff dripping off of it. I can walk around, do what I normally do after the game and not have my arm slow me down. The beautiful thing about it is the next day it helps on recovery. It takes away some of that pain. It makes your arm feel better the next day to improve the recovery time so that when you go out there to throw your first pitch, that you're not super sore. So guys, I hope you like this Freeze Sleeve. If you're interested, go to freezesleeve.com. You can enter the code Nuke, N-U-K-E. That will give you a discount on it. But I love it, guys. I mean, I'm doing all this stuff and it's freezing cold on my arm. About a minute, 2 minutes, it starts to go away. But my arm is feeling a heck of a lot better. So thanks a lot for tuning in, guys, and Nuke out.